Why do we often find pregnant and postpartum women tend to have flare-ups of hip impingement, like a pinching in the front of the hip, deep butt pain, piriformis pain, and they may even have increased risk of labral tears? So one of the things that happens during pregnancy is we get a lot of ligament laxity to help prepare, and we end up with pelvis inlet external rotation happening. This creates a really broad, stable base, okay? Very, very stable. You often see that waddle ending up happening because when we have pelvic inlet external rotation, we have a lot of trouble with our side-to-side movement, okay? But we're pretty good at moving forward. So you can just picture that pregnant woman. Now, what ends up happening when we have pelvic inlet external rotation is we have pelvic outlet internal rotation. Okay, you don't have to get so caught up in the names, but what I do want you to take away from this is that the muscles that do this pelvic inlet external rotation, like those deep fibers of the glute max, deep hip rotators, they will pull this way on the pelvis. Now, one thing that ends up happening when we have kind of a deep hip rotator situation where it's kind of going gung-ho and we don't have enough counter muscle to help with inlet IR is we end up with something called butt gripping. So you'll see people hold a lot of tension in their glutes, especially those lower glutes. So as that happens, okay, we go into external rotation here, we'll end up squeezing that femur forward in the socket because we get lots of pressure in the back, okay? Think about that as squeezing. So we're squishing that femur forward in the socket. And what that does is it runs up against the labrum, it impinges the tissues in the front, all right? So can you picture that? So that's why this pelvic inlet external rotation position can also go hand in hand with a bit more of the labrum getting angry, the soft tissues getting pinched, and things like that because we're squeezing that femur forward in the socket.